She had lost everything. Until a single thought changed her life. It was a gray afternoon in a small village surrounded by dry fields and dusty roads. The wind blew slowly, lifting the dust as if wanting to hide the tired faces of the people who walked with their heads down. Among those simple clay and wood houses lived a woman named Amara. Her eyes were heavy from crying so much, and her heart carried a burden that seemed impossible to bear. Amara was once known in the village as a joyful woman, full of hope and courage, but life had become far too harsh. Her husband, who left to find work in a distant city, hadn't sent any news for months. The harvest had failed, and hunger began to haunt her home. Her 2 young children asked every day when their father would return, and each time she answered soon, a hidden tear would slide down her face. That day, unable to endure the pain, Amara walked to the riverbank where she often went to think. The river was shallower than ever, stones breaking the surface, the sound of water weak, almost a lament. She sat down, hugging her knees, and cried as if she wanted the water to carry her tears away. "I have no more strength," she murmured. "What will become of us?" As she wept, an elderly figure approached. It was Madame Lena, a woman with white hair and a serene gaze, known in the village for always listening and advising those who suffered. Her presence brought an inexplicable calm. Lena came closer, leaning on her cane, and said with a gentle voice, "My child, why do you cry so much? What weighs so heavily on your heart?" Amara lifted her red eyes and answered between sobs, "My husband has gone and I have no news. The food is running out, my children are hungry. Everything feels lost and I don't know what to do. Fear consumes me, and I feel that worse things are yet to come." Lena sat beside her, watching the river. She remained silent for a few moments, then spoke. "You see, fear has a strange way of imprisoning us. When we think only of what can go wrong, we water the seeds of despair. But when we choose to think of what might go right, we water the seeds of hope. And seeds of hope can bloom even in deserts." Amara sighed, confused. "But how can I think good thoughts when everything around me is so bad?" Lena smiled softly. "Let me tell you a story. There was a man in a distant city who had lost everything. He had no family, no shelter, no bread. He sat on a dusty street, crying and lamenting his life, repeating, 'Nothing works out, I am doomed to misery.' People passed by and avoided him, until one night an old woman approached and asked, 'Why do you speak with such certainty?' The man replied, 'Because it is the truth. Look at me, I have nothing.' The old woman smiled. 'Are you sure you have nothing? You have the sky above, the air in your lungs, the sound of life around you. You still exist. Is that nothing?' The man fell silent. For the first time in a long time, he looked up at the starry sky. The old woman continued, "Life always gives us 2 choices, to see the lack or to see the abundance. If you look only at what you lack, you will always be a slave to sadness. But if you see what you already have, you will find the strength to rebuild." That night, the man made a choice. He decided to be grateful for what little he had, for the sun that rose, for the chance of another day. And something inside him changed. The next day, he stood up with courage. He looked for small jobs, helped neighbors, and slowly, he built a new life. He didn't become rich, but he became free, because his mind was no longer a prisoner of lack, but a guardian of hope. When Lena finished the story, Amara wiped her tears. "Are you saying my life can change just by changing the way I think?" Lena answered firmly, yet tenderly, "Yes, my child. What we think shapes how we feel, and how we feel shapes how we act. If you wake up expecting the worst, you live under the weight of sadness. But if you wake up choosing to believe that good can come, your heart will be strengthened, and even in pain, you will find a path." Amara went home repeating a new phrase. "I still have something. I still have my children. I still have life. I can still choose to believe. In the days that followed, something truly changed. Amara woke up and said aloud, "Today will be a good day." Even when food was scarce, she shared it with joy, showing her children gratitude. She washed clothes singing, swept the house with lightness, and with each small action, spread hope. People in the village began to notice. "Amara is different," they said. Her hope became a reflection, lighting up other hearts. Then, weeks later, a letter finally arrived. It was from her husband. He had found work, was sending money, and would soon return home. Amara burst into tears of joy and ran to Lena's house. Lena simply smiled. "You see, my child, life is still difficult, but when you chose to think differently, you changed the energy you carried. The result was not magic. It was the consequence of your own faith." Over time, it wasn't only Amara who was transformed. Many in the village began to follow her example. The village, once known for its sadness, began to fill with new smiles. And so, that lesson echoed through time. The power of a single thought can transform entire destinies. Now I ask you, how many times have you been trapped in negative thoughts, believing nothing would change? What if today you decided to look differently, to be grateful for what you have, to trust that tomorrow might bring something better? If this story touched your heart, leave a comment sharing what thought you'll choose to hold on to transform your life, starting now. Your words could encourage someone else. And before you go, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Here at Whispers of Time, we believe every positive thought is a seed that blossoms in the garden of hope. Which seed will you plant today?